Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy. And this is where characters gather. Today, I'm going to do another recommendation video. This one specific to cozy mysteries set in a library setting. I have the handy dandy laptop with all the information on it. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. First up is absolutely one of my favorite of all time. And this happens to be book 2. I think I've lent book 1 out to my next door neighbor. This is Tailing a Tabby by Laurie Cass. The first in the series is Lending a Paw. And there are currently 10 published books in the Bookmobile series. Bookmobile Cat Series, I'm sorry. And the 11th book is publishing in August of this year. So the protagonist in this series is Minnie Hamilton. She is the assistant library director in, where is it? Chilson, Michigan, which is a mythical town, I believe, in the upper peninsula of Michigan. And her new boss, Stephen, is not all that supportive of Minnie, but it doesn't faze her. Minnie gets grant funding to start a bookmobile so that the outlying residents of the library can have easy access to library books. Wonderful idea. Wish more libraries did that in rural areas. Stephen is wholeheartedly against it, but Minnie carries on. The very first time Minnie takes the bookmobile out, she is surprised and amazed when she discovers a stray cat has hitched a ride. She knows Stephen would not be appreciative. Stray cat she names Eddie. She ends up adopting Eddie, and Eddie it becomes very beloved among all of the patrons of the bookmobile. This series is charming and relatable, and it isn't one in which Minnie abandons her job to go solve the mystery. Rather, it's one where she stumbles across mysteries, or Eddie stumbles across mysteries while doing her job. And her job at the bookmobile allows her to meet people and hear gossip and gather facts, which allows her to solve the mystery. The side characters in this series are wonderfully done. The plots are well done. The entire thing, the entire series, I'm sorry, is a light, easy read that satisfies that itch. It is very easy to recommend because it is escapist fiction in which the protagonist is bubbly and charming, and the side characters are well written and relatable, and nothing feels like two-dimensional rushed characters. And I'm glad to see this series is continuing. I thought it had concluded. In fact, it was on my 2023 reading challenge, the video I will link down below, of finish a completed series. This was the one I had chosen. However, there's a new book coming out, therefore it does not qualify. So I will pick something else. And I'm okay with that. Next up is the Haunted Library series by Allison Brook. I will put a picture of the first book here. I cannot remember the title. It's right here, obviously. This series is set in Connecticut. My library has them on ebook, thus I don't have one in my hand. That's how I'm reading them. There are currently 6 published books in the series. The 7th book is scheduled to be released in August of 2023. Our protagonist is Carrie, and she moves back to her hometown in Connecticut that she has spent a lifetime trying to escape and avoid. When she was a child, her father committed a theft crime, and she has carried that guilt with her all of her life. She ended up being, after her father goes to prison, I think her mother absconds and just disappears from her life. And then her brother's life. She's raised by her aunt and uncle who live in town. She receives a job offer from the library and in town, and the job is to be the head of programs and events, and it's just too good of a job offer to turn down. So she accepts, and she soon adopts a kitten who loves the library and who kind of becomes the cat library. And she soon learns that there is a ghost in the library of a dead librarian who only she can see and communicate with. And that ghost is friendly, not at all creepy. There's no paranormal weirdness other than the fact that she can see and talk to a ghost, obviously. But there's no angst and stress around the ghost. And this series is very good at setting the mood for a seasonal read around a library and events that a library can hold and encourage during the season. It is filled with quirky town characters and relatable people, and once again, she doesn't abandon her duties at the library to solve the mystery. It occurs as a natural part of her job, and it's not something she goes, oh yeah, remember, I'm employed by the library. It's a very easy recommendation. If you don't like stories with ghosts, I understand, but the ghost role is, I'm being overly generous here, maybe 10, at most 15% of the book, and I think that is an incredibly generous percentage of what actually occurs in the book regarding the interaction between Carrie and the ghost. It is not what I would consider a paranormal mystery in any sense of the word. Next up is the Lakeside Library series by Holly Danvers. There are currently 2 books published in this series, and the 3rd book will be published in August of 2023. I will put a picture of the first book right here. I've read both of these books on my Kindle, courtesy of NetGalley Arcs. I adore this series. Our protagonist is Rain. She moves to Lofty Pine, Wisconsin, to the cabin her grandparents left her after her husband unexpectedly dies. It is a waterfront cabin, and over the course of their lives, her grandparents opened a library in a wing of their cabin. I say library loosely. a wing of their cabin that residents in the town and seasonal tourists could check out books and bring them back. And she decides to reopen the library because she's going to live in the cabin year round. And in the first book, she discovers a body on the property of someone who was possibly thinking of trying to buy it from her. And she's got to solve the mystery to uncover some stuff. And this is so easy to recommend. The atmosphere around the lake and the library and her friends in both published books is wonderfully written and evocative, and you feel for her for the loss of her husband and what she thought life was going to give her and what it's actually taking her down. That path and the characters in this series are so well done. It is an easy read. It is enjoyable. And the sense of community this book builds based on this, one little privately run library for the residents is amazing. And it fills your heart. I highly recommend this series. Next up is the Library Lovers series by Jenn McKinley. There are currently 13 published books in this series and one novella halfway through. It is set in the mythical town of Briar Creek, Connecticut. So this is a series that has a mix of library and romance in them. Lindsay is our protagonist. She is the library director in Briar Creek, Connecticut. Hi, Kahlua. Do you come to say hi to the nice people? Yeah, you're such a good girl, aren't you? You're mama's good girl. Okay. Lindsay left her previous job on not the best terms. She wasn't fired, but it wasn't a great leaving. And so she's trying to fit into the community while she recovers from a failed romantic relationship and, make new friends, find a place to settle, accustom herself to the new job. And the reason this series in particular hooked me, and I'll be honest, I read these in spurts. I don't read one right after the other, is there's a book group that meets at the library once a month. And every month, the book group discusses a book, and they try a new craft. And I thought that was a unique hook for this series in particular, in that it mixes... I'm sorry, it's a rainy, stormy, gray day, and the bird is not a happy person. This series mixes my two great loves in life, reading and crafts. And they try a new craft in every book. Lindsay has varying degrees of success with the crafts. And it is a wide range of crafts. It isn't just, all needle art or all paper art. There's a wide range of crafts, which I really appreciate. I will say that the reason I don't read these one after another is that they do go off the rails for me, in that Lindsay tends to forget that her job is librarian director, not amateur sleuth, and she's easily distracted from her day job. We all know that bothers me. Doesn't bother me enough in this series to not continue to read them, But it does bother me enough that I read one and then I take a break and I read another one. So, just be forewarned, that does occur in these books. So why do I recommend this series? The literary references, the crafting, the screwball side characters I love, the tight-knit community all of the side characters have that Lindsay's trying to blend into. They all combine to make a believable fictional town. And whenever I pick these up, they fit the mood I'm in. Which is why I continue despite the, hey, I forgot I have a day job problem. So they're easy to recommend as long as you understand the caveat that she will forget that her main job is to be the library director. So those are my top 4 recommendations of series set in a library or involving librarians. They were ranked in no particular order. And if you need a cozy or you want to pick up a cozy and start your journey towards discovery of cozies, this is a very good place to start. If you have any recommendations for me, please leave a comment down below. I look forward to them. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.